Welcome to Puckin Around Podcast. Join the gang, Carmen, Mike, Mika and Daryl for some Puckin talk.
Hey guys, welcome to an official podcast by Puckin Around. It's been a while since we actually started recording, but we're gonna go ahead and do this one with cameras. Please be joined by Daryl and Mike. Fortunately, Mike couldn't talk to us with a video for today. No image for him, but me and Daryl can, so we're going to go ahead with that. So just we're going to jump into the topics of what we're going to be talking about. So first, we're going to be joined by a guest, Kevin McCurdy from Edmonton, and he's pretty popular around the city of Edmonton. He's an Oilers fan, and me and him have gotten to know each other a little bit. Mike knows him as well, and we're just gonna get him onto the podcast in a little bit. But first of all, we're going to be telling you pretty much all the topics that we're going to discuss. So first of all, as Mike and Daryl probably know, it's about the Oilers and what they've done to their season so far. Nothing good so far. Daryl, Mike, how would you say they've done during the season so far? Give a rating out of 10. Let's go with that.
I'll let you go first, Daryl.
Okay.
Daryl, you go first. Go ahead.
I'd say a 3.5.
Wow. And a half? That was actually very nice. Okay.
I was just
Mike,
thinking the one guy that got injured,
Yeah.
and that's the only reason. But
Oh, which got anything? Oh, Roslovic, yes.
Roslovic, yeah.
Yeah, I remember when we did sign him, I was like, oh my god, we're going to win the cup. We're signing players left, right, and just crazy and everything, and we all know what happened after that, but we'll dive deeper into that a little bit after. Mike, what about you? If you have a rating with the Oilers?
Yeah, I think I would maybe go a 3, similar to Daryl's answer, just because the analytics have looked so bad this year in comparison to recent years, where even though we've had bad starts, we've still been producing high number of chances, and it's mainly been the goaltending that's been holding us back in recent years. But this year, I'd say you can't really just fully blame Scarron and Pickard when our defense is so horrendous and we're generating nothing on offense either.
Yeah, I think we'll dive a bit deeper into that. For me personally, I think everyone knows why. At least I think the Oilers are playing bad.
We know why you think that.
Yes, of course.
Thanks, Mike.
You know what? Let's just go into that a little bit after, because I've been getting ripped apart for about what Jim Matheson said about Skinner.
We'll get
into that
your
after.
scandal as well, Carmen, later.
Sure. Okay, yeah. We'll get into my scandal as well. I don't mind being honest about that. But anyway, so my rating is a 2. I'm going with a 2 because everything I thought that was going to be positive ended up going down toilet. So yeah, it was very, very bad. Anyway, I'm gonna just send the link to Kevin, and then he'll be joining us in the next couple minutes. Second.
Is Kevin on deck? He's ready to go?
Yep, he's ready to go. Just send him the link.
Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, we'll just start out with some news that came out this week about in the NHL pretty much. We're not going to be talking about the Oilers right now, not until Kevin joins at least. But Mike, have you heard anything big coming out of the National Hockey League that's not related to the Oilers? At least not yet.
I mean,
let's focus a little bit on the other teams too.
We'll focus on the Oilers later, but obviously there's been a couple of trade rumors. We'll get to that later. You're on the Oilers, but
sure.
The Leafs' downfall, I'd say, is a big storyline right now. Just considering how it was expected that losing Marner, they would take a step down, but now they're sitting in the bottom of the Atlantic, 1 point above Buffalo. And they have a losing record. They probably won't make the playoffs. So everything just went wrong for that team. Losing Marner really made things go downhill.
Oh, and right on cue, we're joined by Kevin McCurdy. Kevin, pleased to see you for the first time on this podcast. We're joined with Mike and Daryl. So I think, Kevin, you probably know Mike very well. Just if you'd like to give an introduction, that'd be great.
Yeah, I'm Kevin McCurdy. I'm a local blogger, analyst, writer for Heavy Hockey Network, and I have worked with the Cult of Hockey in the past. Obviously, most people know my dad, Bruce McCurdy, who passed away earlier this year. And happy to just come in and check in with your podcast.
Yeah, and we're pleased to be joined by you, Kevin. And yeah, I remember I followed your dad on Twitter all the time. Big fan of his work and big fan of Cult of Hockey. Actually, that's I think probably the first articles I started reading when I got bigger or like more passionate about the Oilers. So yeah, it's quite an honor to actually just like talk to you, Kevin. And I'm just glad that on Twitter we're actually mutuals. That's
Yep,
actually pretty cool.
no worries.
Yep.
So what's going on tonight, gents?
Actually, this week though, I'm pretty sure there's been a lot going on in terms of the Edmonton Oilers. So, Mike, did you want to jump into some of the stuff that we've heard about the Oilers and about how they've started their debacle, at least in the last 2 weeks? We could probably go with that.
Well, obviously, the team's downfall has been pretty recent as of late. When you look at the Dallas game, you look at the Colorado game. Those are two games where they lost big. Goaltending was blamed, and the post game interviews weren't pretty, as we remember. With there were a couple sound bits that came from McDavid and Drysdale once, and people are questioning leadership. But the other big story is goaltending and the trade rumors regarding Jari and um, who's the
Jordan
other guy?
Binnington.
Yeah,
Jordan
Jordan
Binnington.
Bennington.
Yeah.
So do you want to lead us into that, Carmen or Daryl?
Sure. I guess Daryl, go ahead. You can start with that.
Yeah, I mean, we have Bennington who has a no trade clause, but I think it's a 10-team no trade. And then
Yeah.
Jari doesn't have a no trade clause, but nobody wants him. I guess the others might. We'll see. But he is, his numbers this year have been pretty good. So I'll
Yeah.
give him that. And I'm trying to find the numbers to make that work, the price tag. And we do have Connor Ingram that apparently the team didn't want to come up. They all, according to some reports, they stood up against dropping Calvin Pickard, because obviously if he goes through waivers, he's probably going to get claimed. So yeah, the team wanted him to stay. He's a locker room guy. So,
Yeah.
there's a lot there.
Yeah, and that's something that I was actually it, that was a little bit surprising to me because I remember during the playoffs, I'd always hear it from Leon during his post-game interviews. At least when the Oilers won, he would say they support Calvin Pickard a lot, and they think that he's like a person that holds the locker room together and everything. So it was great to hear that they actually supported him, and he actually played very well in the playoffs. But I was very surprised by what they said about at least these rumors that came out that they wanted to keep Calvin up and not bring up Connor Ingram. That was something I was actually kind of surprised to hear. But at the same time, I think that was the right choice because Connor Ingram, he had a couple good games down there, but at the same time, you can't just rush him back. So,
Well, Pickard was, he does have some value still to some teams. So obviously you can't just drop a guy like that and lose a player with some depth. But
yeah, no, I
I
agree with that.
think that goalie has value to both. I think both goalies have value to other teams. I get that Stuart Skinner is a bit of a controversial goalie around here.
Yeah,
That being said, almost everybody that's being looked at, I sort of view as a side grade rather than an upgrade. And I think that the Oilers have been backed into a position that they're desperate and, kind of a predictable outcome if I'm being completely honest with you.
yeah,
It's pretty hard to not look at this, but you look at Tristan Jarry's game logs and his, talk about goals saved above expected, and he's just as streaky as Stuart Skinner is. He's just been streaking on the very positive side of the equation for the time being.
yeah,
And
and
you
that's
see,
all. Sorry.
it's a tough spot, right? Like I get that the team intervened and prevented Ingram from being brought up. If that rumor is true, which I have no reason to not believe it.
Yeah.
That's a pretty drastic move by the leadership group to, step in on that. I feel for Connor Ingram a little bit here. I have no doubt that he's going to see some NHL ice at some point, whether it's because of an injury or whether it's just the team, giving him a look. But I really want people to be mindful that he dealt with some pretty significant mental health issues, and that's not a slight against him, man. That stuff is a lifelong condition that is really hard to work through and really hard to manage, and this environment is not particularly friendly to goaltending. So I want him to have had enough time to have baked in Bakersfield, get some confidence back, be feeling the puck, put up some consistent numbers before we start talking about dropping him in this pressure cooker.
I agree with that.
So a lot of the players on the team, when they were interviewed after last game, they basically all said the same thing, where it's mostly on the defense or on the team. This is a team game; it's not a goaltender game, and so it looks like they're all trying to show that they support the goalies, whether that's trying to build a morale thing or trying to build value of the goalies, as they're trying to trade them, as the team's trying to trade them, and then of course that interview from the writer, but obviously from there, we have some players that I think still have a lot of value, and Skinner especially. We don't want a Dubnyk situation where he goes somewhere else and obviously is the 1A. So.
I don't think we're gonna avoid that though. The reality for Stuart Skinner is that there's a very good possibility, contrary to what a lot of people around here believe, that he's going to go on to another team and he's going to be an excellent goalie. It's like any sort of failed relationship, right? Like any sort of relationship in life where the two parties can go on and be stronger as individuals, separate from each other, but together they just don't work anymore, right? That's kind of, it's how relationships work in life. It's how works here. If we try and hold on to him forever and try and make it work, I think that ship has kind of sailed. And that makes me sad, because I really like Stuart Skinner as an individual, and I really like his cool head and calm, collected self. I think he's a smart dude, and I think he gets it. And I think honestly that this is a circumstance that he didn't ask to be put into. The team failed him fairly badly from a management point of view. They've given him lots of opportunity to earn that spot, and it just hasn't worked out. So I understand moving it on. People are just going to have to accept the fact that there is a more than 50% chance that he's going to be a good goalie somewhere else. And that doesn't necessarily mean that we made the wrong move if we move on from him, if that makes sense.
Yeah, if I can delve a bit deeper into that.
Yeah.
Like, the one thing that we did wrong was when we brought up Jack Campbell. I remember Stuart Skinner had a pretty good rookie year. I mean, I think his goals against were around like 2.23. Save percentage was around 910 to 914, and he had a pretty decent rookie year. I think he only played 33 to 35 games. I can't remember that well back. I think Mike Smith might have... Sorry?
Second
he
in
almost
Calder voting. Yep.
Yeah, I think it was around then. But like, when I think back to that, he would have progressed the way that we wanted if, like, I'm not blaming Jack Campbell here.
No, this is a
Jack
management
Campbell,
problem. This is a full-on management problem.
Like,
well, and where else would you, if you look at Stuart Skinner, if you could go and play in Pittsburgh or in St. Louis, where the media is about a quarter
quiet.
a quarter loud. I mean, what a great situation for him to really build himself up. So.
Yep.
I agree, but like from the goaltending perspective, I think like in terms of management, I kind of understand what they were going for. Like, he did give him every opportunity, but they also didn't give him enough support. Like, I'm not saying Pickard's a bad backup, but they should have brought him along slowly. So think back to that time when all those goalies were available: Jack Campbell, Darcy Kemper, etc. The Oilers made the wrong choice there. They if they had good pro scouting, they might have been able to figure out that Darcy Kemper was the goalie that they should have gone for. They
Kemper
decided
was
on
pretty
Jack Campbell.
controversial at that time, though, too, right?
He
Yeah,
was,
Like
yeah. He was kind of an unknown, right?
No, it wasn't that he
I
was
think
an
that.
unknown. If I remember right, and again, this is a couple of years ago, but
Yeah.
he was sliding pretty good at that point. What did he was playing for the Avalanche at the time, if I remember right.
Yes, he was playing for the Avalanche. He had a
And he
.896
struggled.
percentage.
Yeah, he struggled a little bit, and that was no sure bet. No goalie's a sure bet, man. It's the NHL. We've seen NHL average save percentage slide by 18 points in the past 10 years, right? Like,
Yeah, that's
it's
true.
it's brutal. It's really hard to be a goalie in this league, and if you don't have the defensive support, which the Oilers have shown very little of this year,
Yeah.
it's really hard to be a goalie.
Well, in the
there's one
Capitals
thing-
Kings,
Yeah,
trade.
They have good defending.
Obviously,
What do you mean the trade?
They traded the two players because they were both struggling, and then of course now Kemper is doing good, but he wasn't good on the Caps team, which is a very solid defensive team, right?
Sort of worked out for both teams.
Yeah,
like Mike and Kevin, if you want to delve a bit deeper into this, like if you think, like in terms of where the Oilers have like put themselves in, the situation they've got themselves in with like Skinner, like I remember listening to Elliot Friedman at Oilers now with Bob Stauffer. If I remember back to a couple days ago, like Friedman said, like it seems like they're at that point where it's time to like for both sides, for the Oilers and for Stuart Skinner to like move on, start fresh. And same with Ryan Rashad. He also said like the way that Skinner's playing, or maybe since the team maybe has lost faith in Skinner, it might be coming into their game. So do you think that's true? Because at least that's what I saw from the Dallas game.
I would say,
That's what I was thinking.
No, go ahead.
100%. 100%. I think. Well, Carmen, you're probably pretty familiar with the clip I'm talking about, but if you saw the Jim Matheson interview with Skinner, even through Skinner's answer, it was a stupid question, but even through Skinner's answer, you could kind of tell that he knew his days with the team were coming to an end.
The way he answered,
just the way he answered, he didn't have that confidence that he usually does. He's shown over the past 3 years with his.
Although he answered it pretty good, I thought. Like, I mean, if I was in that interview, I would have.
Can answer it.
Yeah. As good as you can, exactly.
Yeah.
Like if you think about it on the spot, if let's say if that was me, I would have been like I probably would have swore here. But Stuart held it pretty well. I'm not a big fan of Stuart Skinner, as probably everybody on here knows, but at the same time, I mean, I wouldn't have asked him something as like no disrespect to Jim Matheson, but I wouldn't have asked him something like that. At least a question like that is maybe more management related. Like
with
Do you want to delve
Matheson.
into what Matt Matheson? I'll let you go down.
No, go ahead.
Daryl, go ahead.
Okay.
Well, just the fact that it wasn't a question, but another thing to remember is that Stuart Skinner is from Edmonton, and he has been an Oilers fan his whole life, so he knows the Dubnyk situation. He knows the guys beforehand, and he knew exactly what he got into when he got drafted by the team. So I mean, it's all part of the hockey craze that this town has, or that Edmonton has.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, a hockey player here, like a popular one, like Leon Draisaitl, for example, like you're like a superstar singer here. Like you're like, it's insane here the way hockey is. So, Kevin, in terms of the rumors around the goaltending or the goaltenders that are available, at least we think that are available, like Bennington and Jari, Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen, I hope I didn't say his name wrong. He may be available because Buffalo does have 3 goalies. Out of all those 3, which one do you think is like has the highest likelihood of getting traded to Edmonton? Tristan Jarry we already know, but like, do you think there's a chance that Bennington comes here, or UPL, as I like to call him?
I wouldn't hold my breath that they're going to get rid of UPL. Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen is on a fairly long-term contract with Buffalo, and they're going to want assets for him, even though he's had a bit of a tough season. Jordan Binnington, again, you talked about it previously, but it's been discussed that he has a 10-team no-trade list, and that Elliott feels that it's quite likely that the Canadian teams, and specifically Edmonton, are on that list. So it would need his waiver in order to proceed with a deal like that. I know that the team is a little bit interested in Parayko, which I understand. I just don't know how you're going to make that money work this year
You have to move Nurse probably.
without moving significant salary, right? Like, guys, the moves that are happening next are going to hurt. It doesn't matter what they do. It doesn't matter what they do unless they wait until the summer and they just call this season what it's starting to look like, which is a bit of a reset year. The reality of, and that's no slight against these guys. These guys have given everything that they've had for 3 seasons now, 4 seasons now. They've played long, deep playoff runs. That's really hard on the body. That's really hard on the mind. Getting defeated in the Stanley Cup Finals twice is no joke from just a mental fortitude point of view. I don't really have a lot of concerns about the leadership in the room. I don't have a lot of concerns about, the overall atmosphere of the team. I'm sure there's some things that could improve, and they're not in the best spot right now, because when you're losing lots of hockey games and getting shit kicked for, to pardon phrase, by teams that you have beaten, that's tough. I'm sure things could be better, but I don't think they're as bad as they're made out to be either. So in terms of who can come here, I don't think Binnington will be the one that ends up here. I just don't think that that's likely. Tristan Jarry, a lot of people say, well, that deal, we talked about it on Oilers Live last night.
Yeah.
We probably, we were definitely on it pretty quick and maybe even prematurely. We'll see how that turns out. But it makes a lot of sense for both teams, regardless of what people say about it, because they're getting out of Tristan Jarry's contract, and Stuart Skinner is a UFA, right? He's at the end of this year. This is his last year. They have a boatload of goaltenders, so they're in all likelihood going to take him and flip him to another team, and will have freed themselves of the Tristan Jarry contract in the process. So that's a win for them. In some ways, they would have to include an asset to make that happen, because they have stable goaltending even without Stuart Skinner being part of the picture. Same with Buffalo, right? Like UPL, that's they got Alex Leon. They've got what's his name?
Devin Levi.
Devin Levi. They've got UPL. I don't really see UPL being the odd one out, even though Alex Lyon is probably playing the best of all three at the moment.
Levi asked for a trade, I think. I'm pretty sure.
Levi is not going to come here. Stauffer pretty much. He just said it outright.
Well,
I remember on Oilers Now.
Yeah.
I've talked to a few guys around here, and basically the sort of universal comparison is that if you get Jerry, you're getting Stuart Skinner 2.0, right? You're getting a goalie that's a bit streaky, has some technical flaws. Every time we have this conversation, it further disappoints that we didn't take Jesper Wallstad, and what an absolute bungle of a move that was by the organization.
I don't know what the hell is this.
You know what? It's too late. Time to move on. We get to watch him do shutout after shutout with another team, because we had no foresight to think that Connor McDavid might need a goalie at some point in his career.
Yeah, Tyler Wright as a pro. Oh God!
It's not even worth it, man. Let it.
I mean, if you think about it like that, you can say the same thing about Barzal, and I mean, there's a long list of guys that we could have.
But one thing about Barzal, that wasn't on Shelley. I can't believe I'm defending Peter Shelley, but like Peter Shelley actually did a good job on drafting. It's just I think that was more of a, if you want to call it an old boys club. You could tell it was, because based off the trade they made, it didn't make any sense. Yeah. They traded so much to get Griffin Reinhart, and
Reinhart was a player that they really liked. At that point, with a lot of upside, but
we could have got Barzal. We could. I'm not gonna.
We can do the shoulda, woulda, couldas until the end of time, and all we're gonna do is be unhappy as a fan base, right? Like,
yeah,
this is where we're at. This team is at a point where they're at an inflection point that either they need to rapidly start winning hockey games, or this is indeed going to be a reset year. Like, that's the reality.
True.
That's not.
That's where Toronto is, right?
Yeah, that's not pulling punches. That's not meant to be a shot at the organization. They have put together some stellar hockey over the past half decade, and particularly in the past 3 years. You know, that's not sustainable forever. We have emptied the cupboards, and it's time to fill them back up a little bit. So, if they get the right deal, I think they should take it. I have a feeling that they are, you know, there's a decent chance that they're going to make a deal just to try and shake things up a little bit, and I fully understand that. And I don't have any specific rumors in mind, but they're, you know, I'm not sure that if they don't shake the tree that they're not going to shake it pretty hard. As long as we're not costing ourselves players that we're going to regret losing, you know, Nugent Hopkins comes to mind, or somebody like that, that, you know, those would be the kind of players that I would be concerned about giving up. I think there's a good likelihood that they move on for Brett Kulak. That's, again, no slight against Brett Kulak. I've been pretty vocal. I love that guy. Excellent hockey player. One of the best skating defensemen in the league. Fantastic skater. But he's had a struggling year, and I honestly think that might be because his role has been a little bit diminished, and he is on the side of the ice where they've got you know, 4 defensemen signed, or 3 long-term contracts. They've got Nurse, and they've got Ekholm, and they've got Wallman all on the left side. So that makes it really, really challenging to continue to justify his $2.75 million expiring deal.
So, Kevin,
when you
do
have...
you think that...
Oh.
Sorry, Daryl, I'll just let you go first.
Yeah, he's also an Alberta or Edmonton Spruce Grove player. Anyway, like in that case, like you have a couple of options. I mean, there's some guys that have no trade, that don't have no trades. If you really wanted to shake the tree, Evan Bouchard, for the first 2 years of his 4-year deal, doesn't have a no trade clause. But I mean, what do you really do if you make that move?
Can I stop you right there? Can I stop you right there for once? If you trade Evan Bouchard, and I know that some people on Twitter and etc. will say I'm full of shit, but if you trade Evan Bouchard, you might as well start the rebuild.
Yeah,
you're going to
and the reason
the next Evan Bouchard.
Exactly, that's why. It's not because he's the equivalent of Cale Makar. He's not. No, let's be serious. He's not Cale Makar. Cale Makar is going to go down as the second best defenseman of all time. But there is nobody in the window of opportunity that they have in front of them, which is the next, 3 to 5 years, that they can trade for that is going to be anything close to an improvement. Or even
the last time they tried, they had to trade Taylor Hall for him, and then that didn't work either. So if you want to trade, exactly.
There's nobody. They would have to develop a defenseman, and that will be the end of the window. That'll full stop.
Verhoff. Like I even thought of that, right? And I was like, okay, if you're gonna give away Bouchard, then you might as well just rebuild and grab.
But then you're selling off Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl, and what are we doing?
You can't
here?
do that.
You've taken literally possibly the most obvious dynasty handed to an organization ever, and reduced it to ashes because Evan Bouchard, Connor McDavid, and Leon Draisaitl are untouchable. Full stop.
Yeah.
Well, and in that case, and my point to that was, if it's not Evan Bouchard and it's not McDavid Draisaitl, the only real name that might go is Nurse. I mean, and they're all buddies.
There is a chance that he waits.
Yeah,
I think there's a chance.
They're all buddies, but at one point, how much do you want to have your buddies around if you're losing every game?
I don't think it's about buddies. I think that comment about the noise getting to Nurse is not actually wrong. I think he's had enough of our fan base, and you know what? I can't say as I blame him. He's struggled. Don't get me wrong. He signed a deal that is outside of his capability to live up to, and the thing that I've sort of learned, and I'm hard on him at times, just like everybody else, right? But he is a guy that, for the most part, plays to a specific level pretty much every night. And if we expected him to play and he had an appropriately signed contract for that level, in the $5.5 to $6.5 million a year kind of range, nobody would bat an eyelash.
Like if he signed for $7 million, for example, or 6.5.
Exactly. But
Something like that,
he's
right?
$3 million more than that. He's not on the power play. He's never going to live up to that contract. And once you move past the fact that he's never going to live up to that contract, it's a whole lot easier to watch Darnell Nurse play hockey and not be angry all the time.
I agree.
I know that's a ridiculous thing, but it's on management that's the deal that they put in front of Nurse. Nurse would have been insane not to sign on the dotted line.
Exactly.
So,
If it was us, wouldn't you want to sign for what was it?
yeah,
9.25?
if I worked and I had the season that I had in 2021 like that, and they offered me $9.25 million, you're signing every day and twice on Sundays, right? Like, that's on the organization again. And again, I don't really want to completely slander the org here. Management has made some mistakes. Everybody's made mistakes, but this team has gone to the Stanley Cup Finals 2 years in a row. That is already an incredible feat by itself. There's one other team that has done it in the last 2 years, and both times that team won the cup. We've been beaten by the eventual Stanley Cup champions 4 years in a row. Right?
Yeah.
This is not a bad hockey team, guys.
So
Just the way they're playing right now.
Just going back to Nurse for a bit, they gave him the 2 bridge deals. At this point, they would actually have to re-sign him again, and I'm pretty sure the number would be basically the same. So at that, if you look at the previous contracts, we would be signing him now to an 8-year deal at 30 years old, at probably about 9.5, if not 9. So, really the deal isn't as bad as what it looks like.
I don't think he would have gotten $9 million with how he's played the past couple of years. I think he would have. His comp would have been in the 7.5 range, maybe 8 on the 8-year deal.
He
right?
seems kind of like Devin. Would you say he's kind of not? He doesn't play the same as Devin Taves, but points wise, he goes around there. If he was playing top pair, let's say with Bouchard. But that's the thing. He doesn't have the passing ability of someone like that. He's not a puck mover. He's more of a puck rushing defenseman. And
he's an exceptional skater. He's one of the best skating defensemen in the league.
Honestly,
hands down.
He's got a pretty good shot.
When I
too.
watched,
when
I watched him play at like Mike, for example, when I watched him play at the World Juniors before he got drafted by the Oilers, he was mean. He was tough. He was a shutdown defenseman. He was all over the ice. That's the kind of defenseman I thought the Oilers were getting, and he did play like that at the beginning. It's after he signed his contract, that's when he started getting a bit more conservative.
Yeah.
He tried to be a bit more of what he isn't. More of a offensive defenseman. That's not something I thought he would become. And if he was still more of a defensive defenseman, I'm not saying he's Nikita Zadorov or whatever, right? He's got more puck ability than that, but I thought that's what the Oilers were getting. And I thought that's who would be with Bouchard. Because then it would...
Let's not underrate the fact that Oscar Klefbom's injury is the reason that they found themselves in that spot. They panic moved to make sure they secured their last top pairing defenseman that they had left in the organization at that point. They didn't know what Evan Bouchard was going to be. Evan Bouchard was drafted in 2018, I think?
2018, yeah.
Yeah. So they didn't, when they signed that in 21, he was still down, way down. I'm not even sure he had made it to Baco at that point, right? He might have. I have to check.
I think.
But
he was
either
in
way,
London. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, either way, they didn't know what Evan Bouchard was going to be. They had lost their top-tiering defenseman to a career-ending shoulder injury. Do you blame the org for trying to find some security? I understand it.
No.
I understand that it was a perfect storm. Stan Bowman sort of created it by signing Seth Jones in that market to the deal that Seth Jones got, right? It was a perfect storm of bad coincidences.
The pandemic didn't help, and then Adam Larson leaving too didn't help. So
and I understand why Larson left. He's never coming back.
Yeah,
that
you can't say
was
anything against that.
No. So
I just
go
yeah,
ahead.
sorry.
No, go, Carmen.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask all three of you guys if any of you guys can give me a bit of a rundown on Tristan Jarry, because like I saw him play for Pittsburgh his rookie year, but I don't have a sense of his like goaltending ability. The first question I'm gonna ask you guys about him is how is his lateral movement? If does anyone have a scouting report on the type of goalie he is?
I think that Binnington would have been a better fit than
I
Tristan
think
Jarry from an east to west point of view. I think
yeah.
Binnington is known to move across pretty well. He has a pretty hard push, and again, I don't think it matters what goaltender you put in front of the way the defense are playing. I think what matters is that you're shaking up the equation and that they might have a new face back there that they have to now defend. I think that that's where you're looking to make the change rather than pure ability.
I think you're right about that, yeah.
Jarry is a streaky goalie, and he can make some exceptional saves, and Stuart Skinner can make some exceptional saves. They're just not as reliable as you would like them to be.
Yeah.
And this team has backed themselves into a corner of preventing rush chances against at all costs, and that affects how they play up ice from that, right? So all of that is sort of back filtered onto the defense, not being able to break the puck out, the forwards not being able to support their defensemen to give them good outlet passes and to do more than the bump dumps that they've been doing for ages now. So again, back to the point I was making, I think that it doesn't matter what goalie you have. You could be prime Martin Brodeur and they would still be leaking goals right now. That said, a couple big saves could change the whole, and a couple big saves for a couple consecutive games could really change the whole trust equation a little bit.
Yeah, and that's one thing I keep getting back to. I mean, maybe sometimes people agree with me, sometimes people don't, as you guys probably saw on X. You know what? I'm just gonna stick to Twitter. I'm not calling it X. But yeah, a couple of big saves could help the team. I mean, at least it'll help the team like get confidence and everything, right? But I think it's gotten to a point where the team doesn't have as much faith in Skinner anymore. Like it gets to that point where the first shot, is that gonna go in? And the Dallas game didn't help. The first shot, even though it was a pretty good chance, went in. Second one hit the post, and then, I just kept going up from there. And oh god, that game, I watched
They
like
didn't
half
show
of
up
it.
to the game, guys. Like it's pretty easy to judge, but they didn't show up from minute one of that hockey game. They didn't show up from minute one of the Colorado game. They're struggling right now, and when you're struggling, I don't think it's fair to judge anybody. Like I said, it's been some comments about the leadership group today. Even Leon,
That was
Leon clapped back pretty hard in one case, and and you know what? Do you blame him? Do you blame him?
Nope.
Nope.
I understand the question. The question was pulled a little bit out of context. So in fairness to EST, that was not the entire context of that conversation. But I also think that the leadership is not entirely blameless. I don't think... Okay, we can sit here and we can point fingers all day long, right? Yeah. The reality is there are multiple failures at all levels and all positions of this organization. Doesn't matter if you're a coach, doesn't matter if you're forward, doesn't matter if you're a defenseman, doesn't matter if you're goalie, doesn't matter if you're in management. You can be the frigging stick boy, right? Everybody has not performed as well as they can and not near the capability that they've shown the past few years. There's a lot of roster change at play here that has caused significant issue.
I agree.
So how do they reset that? The only way you can reset that mid-season really is, which they do every couple of years, is you either fire a coach or you make a significant change in roster. And they've already had a significant change in roster, so there's no guarantees that another one is going to further improve the situation.
Yeah,
roster,
Kevin,
or did you mean coaching?
Yeah, Carmen, you want to go?
Yeah, I think in terms of significant change in roster, which change would you are you referring to in terms of the roster?
They don't have Corey Perry. They don't have Connor Brown. They don't have
Vander Kane.
Jeff Skinner. They don't have Evander Kane. They don't have Arvidsson. They don't they've changed over 40% of their roster year over year. That
In a
is a
terrible way.
significant amount of on-ice change, and they're now using rookies. There's nothing wrong with rookies, but we cannot expect them to immediately play at the same level. We've seen some promising signs out of, out of Savoy, and
Out of
Isaac
Savoy,
Howe's
yeah.
killing in the NHL.
yeah,
Yeah.
Isaac
been very
Howe's
good.
killing the AHL, and that's where he should stay for most of the rest of the year.
Yeah,
That's
I
my
agree.
opinion.
I
Let him play
And-
22 minutes a night and develop. He is going to be a hell of a player. Just put him on ice and let him do his thing for high minutes. Let him develop. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Kevin, I want to.
There's a lot of good rookies down there for the Oilers. Yeah. Sorry,
yeah,
Mike. Go
you're
ahead.
good.
I just wanted to say Josh Szymanski is one rookie that I like, but
Yeah.
Mike.
He's a
Sherlock
beast,
talked
man.
about his list on Bob Stauffer's show last night, and basically his list was 1, Ike Howard, obviously.
Mhm.
2 was not Szymanski. Wow, pulling it. Yarvanti. Yarvanti was his second choice.
Robbie, you're Venti, yeah.
Yeah, and then it was jeez, the heck's that guy's name?
Mariella?
Hudson. No, Hudson.
Quinn Hudson.
Quinn Hudson, yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah, it was
we
Quinn
actually have a
Hudson.
pretty good player. Some pretty good players down there.
Mm-hmm.
Think about it.
People can talk shit about Bowman all they want. The reality is that Bowman has done an okay job with very limited draft capital to refill the cupboards a little bit, and those guys just need to keep developing. Like,
100%.
I agree.
Yeah, as far as developing goes, he has done a better job than his predecessors. But
Kevin, I sort of want to
Getting-
backtrack to what you said earlier about the coaching. Do you guys think that Knobloch has sort of lost the locker room at this point in the season? Because
I don't think so.
you see the Oilers
No.
going
Well,
down
one-
early in games.
One thing I do want to say after Mike, you're done. Go ahead. Go on and
You
finish.
see when they go down in games, there's no fight back. You don't really see Knobloch getting like emotional or yelling on the bench. I just sort of wonder if he's sort of lost the locker room, and maybe that's why they're not playing to their full potential right now.
I think that this team is tired. I think this team is legitimately fatigued from multiple back-to-back full cup runs. I'm not sure that Knobloch has lost the room. I'm not sure whatever they're doing is completely working either. I think from top to bottom, every position of this organization is struggling right now. And I think that, Bowman is most likely to swing first. Unless the team does some incredible stuff tomorrow in Seattle and really starts showing times of like flipping the table on everything. I think that it's in all likelihood going to be Bowman that blinks first, and then we'll see what happens after that. I won't be surprised if they make a small coaching change somewhere, but at this point, right, like they either have to start treading water or they're gonna move some pieces and prepare for, a wild card or a miss type of situation, right?
Yeah.
I don't think they're there yet, but they really have to start showing forward progress.
Yeah, that's where I was gonna go to Kevin. When it comes to like what the Oilers did with their coaching, because they kept Knobloch, Paul Coffey, I guess, just didn't want to coach anymore, and then Glenn Gulletson got his head coaching opportunity with Dallas. It's the coaches that Knobloch brought in. Like, do you think? Obviously, that's having an impact with the team, right? In terms of like transitional play or play in the in the neutral zone, that's where you're seeing most of the problems. Giveaways by the defensemen when they don't, rush the puck up the ice or make good passes. You always see the forwards at the blue line and not supporting the defense. So, do you think that's a coaching issue with who Knobloch has brought in, or is it just on the players? Like, anyone can answer that one, I guess. We all watch the games.
I think it's everybody. Again, I don't think that there's any position that's innocent. Nobody is playing their best hockey, whether it's with a clipboard or with a hockey stick. It's just kind of how I feel about it. I don't think that they've necessarily brought in the wrong people, but I think there's been a lot of change there too, right? Like you're talking about swapping out Gulletson, who's been with the team for years, with McFarland. Mark Stewart's taken over the defense full time, and I don't know. I'm not in that locker room. I can't tell you guys. You would get the perception if you were in there, but we're not. So we're only speculating. I've heard Chris Knobloch absolutely tear a strip off the team, but that only happens behind closed doors. Excuse me.
And we're never going to hear all of that. So
nope. And this team has gotten tighter with information, right?
Yeah, they have. Tom Gazzola actually said that the team's like very tight-lipped with what they're going to do. But I mean, rumors are coming out. Like, I always listen to Oilers Now with Bob Stauffer, and I remember after the Dallas game, he was like shocked at how the team played. So, Kevin, Mike, Daryl, all you guys just give your opinions on this. If the Oilers lose tomorrow in Seattle, do you guys think that's when the first
100%.
levers are going to get pulled?
Seattle's one of the worst teams. I think they rank like near the bottom of the league in generating prime scoring chances. So I think that's the type of team we need to play to maybe reset this whole thing, because our defense has struggled, obviously. Honestly, Ty Emberson is the only guy I'd say is playing up to standard or up to expectations right now. Everybody else... And
Roslovic was before his
No, just on defense. Just on defense.
Defense? Okay,
so I think, honestly, playing a team that isn't good at generating scoring chances, if we lose to them, or if we're letting goals go by against them, that's when there's going to be panic within the organization.
I think there's already panic in the organization.
Well, yeah, but even more.
Yeah, and that's when you make dumb moves, right? The real goal here is to survive the next little bit, not blow a whole bunch of draft capital on a maybe, right? Like, these guys have limited resources yet, and we've done some inexplicable stuff with asset management in previous seasons. I think it's important that they recognize that, and recognize that there might be a year here that they have to be a bit more conservative. That doesn't mean they can't do anything, but they have $18 million worth of cap coming up this summer, and they have 16 players. So there's some opportunity to make some upgrades in the summertime. They just need to not completely empty the cupboards in the meantime.
Team also has to know, like, if there's players available, right? I mean, if there aren't players available, you can have as much draft capital as you want, but you're not going to get them. Also, I think, the next move, like, I remember I tweeted this out a couple days ago, the next move we do is not a move that we're probably going to win, unless the other team's desperate as well. So, if it is a trade for Tristan Jarry, like, I mean...
Which team is more desperate than the Oilers?
Exactly. Based on, compared to Skinner, I'm not saying, like, maybe Skinner turns into a really good goalie somewhere else. He probably will. But, like, I'm not a big fan of his in Edmonton. I'm not going to hold that back.
Well, Carmen,
Kevin, you already
know. If
know.
I quote Jim Matheson, you're deemed as the number one hater of Stuart Skinner in Edmonton.
Exactly. As Jim said it.
Number one, right?
There's some other guys. There's some other dudes that are pretty vocal about about that.
Yeah, someone on Twitter, Stoney, I believe. He's not a big fan.
We're not going to get into names, right? Like, that's no. To me, that's offside, right? Like, they. I agree. Jim asked his question. It was a tough question. I don't 100% agree with it, but he also is in the business of asking tough questions, right? And
always.
It wasn't even a question, though. There was no question there. It was a statement. But either way,
he did ask me a question at the end.
Guys, I don't. I try in the name of Bruce McCurdy to not comment on the activities of other media members for the most part, for a lot of reasons, because it's really unfair to throw a rock in a glass house. The Oilers are a glass house right now, right? So if you want to take something away from that, feel free.
No, I think we'll stay away from that.
Can we talk about something positive for a second?
Sure.
Connor Clattenburg led the team last game with 78% expected goals for.
That tells you
Brand new
about the
guy.
team
He's
played
got
as well.
16 professional games to his name in
Yeah.
the AHL and 2 more in the NHL.
And he's what, 20 years old?
And he played 13 minutes.
Yeah.
When have we ever brought a rookie in and played him 13 minutes in his first 2 games? Like,
Yeah,
he's played.
Well,
You
he
know,
brings a
People
lot
who
of.
know.
yeah,
he
but
brings
he's
a lot
not.
of
He's not
things.
mistake free. But man, does that kid know how to compensate for them? He almost
Yeah.
he almost coughed up the puck once. And he made a diving swipe from his knee. But that's the kind of stuff that inspires teams, right?
Well, he's the guy
Yeah.
playing for his
I-
roster spot while everybody else is tired. So you can see
Well,
you
and
can see the extra effort for sure.
Yep, and
Yeah.
if Roslovic is out, and if Kapanen is out again for any significant time, you have to wonder if Clattenburg steals himself a roster spot in this process, because they
He
need
might,
that
yeah.
grit and they need that passion. I don't know, man. These guys, I don't know how to explain the malaise. I just don't. I don't know if you can point to any one factor, but nobody in particular is playing well. Even the stars are struggling, right?
Yeah.
Like the guys that
Yeah.
usually can get it done. And again, that's no slander against Connor and Leon. They've carried this team on their back for a decade now, right? At times, everybody's going to struggle at some point. You think, like, you look at Austin Matthews. Like, yeah, he scored tonight, I think, but like,
Yep, he scored tonight.
he's
struggling
had
as
his
well.
struggles. Nathan McKinnon has had his struggle. It happens, and right now that struggle is happening kind of from top to bottom.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just a little bit of an update. The Oilers are dead last in regulation wins, so
Yeah, I think
nice to know, right? Awesome to know.
that one against Florida was their first regulation win since the one against Utah. So
They got 5 now, right?
Yeah.
With the Florida one.
think- yeah,
It was
yeah,
at
5.
4 forever. There was a whole month that they didn't win a game in regulation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just I don't know. Maybe you're right, Kevin. It's
Since
just because
it's
of
American Thanksgiving, we should all go
maybe
around
the team's
and
tired,
see-
but you know, like I remember Bob said that too, but then Frank said like completely shut him down. Same with Friedman, and I'm not gonna use that as an excuse for the Oilers for how bad they turned out. Like you said, Kevin, the team changed over like what 40% of their roster. I mean, not every player is fully tired. I mean, the stars for sure, our leadership group for sure, but they also came in with the mindset of they want to win the cup. Sure, they're tired at the moment, but maybe they're just holding back because they want to get to the playoffs. But the thing is, you have to get to the playoffs first. I mean, this league isn't like there's 82 games, or how many games they're going to
Yeah.
be playing now. I think it's supposed to be a couple more games.
And that's sort of the issue
But
now. Block's
not every
just,
team is.
Okay, I'll let you finish. Sorry, comment.
Yeah. No, it's okay. Like, not every team is bad now. The only bad team I see now is Nashville. And, like, which other team do you see that's bad? Even Anaheim.
Calgary.
Yeah, Calgary.
Calgary, they're aren't they 4 and 1?
I think
Yeah.
they've won the 4 though.
Calgary, I guess.
But
No,
they're still,
I think that was
bad. They still
an
have bad
incorrect stat.
roster.
Yeah,
Anyway,
they're still bad. And
what were you saying, Carmen? I lost
go ahead, Mike.
Buffalo.
Oh, what I was just saying was like I don't think like being tired and whatnot after 2 years.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I don't think that can be used as a full-on excuse. But obviously,
Okay, but look what
it's-
they did. Look what they've replaced their. Look what they've replaced their. They've taken Connor
Bottom
Brown
6.
and Corey Perry and whatever,
Oh,
and you've replaced. Guys, the Corey Perry thing is $4 million, right? He's
Yeah.
a 40-year-old, right? He is an absolute leader in the room. There's no question that this team would be better if Corey Perry was around right now. I have no
Yeah.
doubt in my mind, but they just did not have the money to make that work. Look at the increases. What did Leon go to? He went from 8.5 to 14 million dollars, and
Yeah.
Evan Bouchard went from 3.9 to 10 and a
11,
half, or
10
to
and a half.
11.
Yeah.
I think it might have been 11 or 10 and a half. I think it's 10 and a half, Kevin.
My point
you're right.
is that you've had a case where you've added $12 million to 2 guys' salaries and not done. There's no slight. That's just how the contracts have worked out. But that just leaves them in a little bit of a bind. They have a bunch of guys that have no movement clauses that aren't delivering. What do you do in that case? You have pretty limited options. They're going to go to Andrew Mangiapane and say, "Hey, can you waive your no movement clause 6 minutes after you signed a
I was
contract
really
with
excited
us?
about Mangiapane. Like after
I'm not
Me
sure
too,
that
actually.
Mangiapane has given us his best yet. I think there's still player there. It's Victor Arvidsson all over again.
I know.
Exactly. And to be honest, I'm never ever gonna put that much faith into free agency anymore because whoever the Oilers sign out
They
of there,
just don't work.
like
And then
exactly.
they leave
The
Edmonton.
only
and
one
they
that's
become
been
second.
Do
working
they
is Jack
not
Roslovic.
work? I mean,
Jack
you could make
Roslovic.
a pretty decent case that Zach Hyman and Jack Roslovic are
Yeah.
two of the best free agent signings that this organization has ever made, right? Like,
Of course.
I mean, Roslovic, you can't raise it to quite the Zach Hyman standard, but it's pretty close. Like,
Yeah.
Roslovic's definitely good.
in terms,
Yeah.
yeah, and I think he'll end up earning. I hope he earns another contract with this team because I think he's a good fit. That's the kind of player that we need to be focused on, and we need to figure out. I've talked about this on my own podcast with the Heavy Hockey Network. I've talked about this on Low Tide Show. We need to figure out what the identity of the 25-26 Edmonton Oilers are. What is the identity of this year's team? Who are we? 2 years ago, we were a chameleon. We could beat you with force. We could beat you with finesse. We could beat you with speed. We could beat you with whatever way we chose on any given night, and pick them at random. And not so much last year, but 2 years ago, absolutely. It's a vicious team to play against. We could bully teams, and maybe that's a little bit of hindsight and a little bit of rose-colored glasses, and that's fine. But there was multiple ways that team could win hockey games, and this year the team is having trouble finding a single one that they can repeat over and over and over again. So until they figure out that core identity, we're going to be in a tough situation, right? Like, I think that's what they need to figure out. Who is this team? Is this a dump and chase team? Is this a ground pound team? Is this a neutral zone rush team? Like, what are we this season?
Right now, it looks like just a lost team. Last year, it was a veteran team, so it knew how to get out of problems, like big issues and whatnot. They showed it at the beginning of the year, and then eventually it turned out pretty dang good. But this year, I don't know. Like, I'm not sure what the team is because they don't hit. I mean, in front of their own net, they're pretty terrible. They just look lost right now. That's how I see it.
And that's just a disconnect. There's a big disconnect between the forwards and the defense, and it's as simple as that. They are a disconnected group, and when they are able to connect, magic happens. I've seen some signs of life in this org already in games. Even if games that we've lost, I've seen things that should tell me that it's not that there's no hope. They just need to string together a couple of games. And this year, this league has had this problem, man. There's been a lot of teams that have, the exception of the Colorado Avalanche, have not been able to string together multi-game victories, right? Like, that's just not the way this season is playing out for anybody.
Yeah, that's true. A bit of a rumor came up, although it's not really that big. Toronto was interested in a Michael Bunting reunion, I guess.
Well,
good for them.
Honestly, who cares?
Yeah, well, I'm not sure what Toronto. I'm not sure what Toronto did to themselves.
Toronto doesn't know what they are either. That's Toronto's issue, right? Like, the Canadian teams are in bad shape this year. It's really
Ottawa's doing decent, I guess, but
but
Winnipeg.
Winnipeg's been pretty bad, actually.
They were okay right up until Hellebuyck got hurt, and then they went.
Yeah, no Hellebuyck. Now they're very calming. That's one thing I got scared of. I was like, okay, if they start looking for a goalie, then what are the Oilers going to do? But to be honest, like, Kevin, do you want to give a guess on when or if the Oilers make a move? When, like, around what time do you think that it's going to happen?
Guys, I think we're at the point where they're going to probably make some kind of move in the next few days. I don't think we're going to be going too much longer. I actually don't even think it matters if they win in Seattle or not.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't think that'll be enough to pump the brakes on whatever they view as necessary. I know they're talking about evaluating till the end of December, and to an extent, I would be an idiot to not defer to Bob Stauffer here and say Bob probably knows best, or Tom Gazzola probably knows best what's going on in that room and what's going on in the organization. I'm not an insider,
I trust Stauffer
right?
more. Yeah.
Well, and those
I'm not
guys
an
are there,
insider. Well,
right? But I'm saying I don't have those connections, so I'm observing what I see from the outside, and what I see from the outside is there's flames shooting out of the building right now, and if they can manage to get that under control, they still might have to get a couple more pieces secured. I know they want a little bit more grit in the middle six. They've talked about that, and maybe
just don't
Clattenburg
pull
does
another
fill
Trent
that.
Frederick. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, but Trent, in fairness to Trent, Trent played the two best games of hockey I've seen him play all year in the two games before he got hurt. So there was some signs of life there too, but there was already signs of regression before we signed that deal when he was still playing for Boston. So I don't, again,
Not sure what happened to him.
we have a complicated relationship with power forwards.
Yeah. Dustin
I
Penner
really, I
actually
really
was pretty
still
good.
think, I really still
Like
think that he's gonna be just fine. He had a pretty big injury last year, and so he's still trying to find his game.
He did,
And
yeah.
he never found his game in the playoffs either. So
Leon Draisaitl, when he had his high ankle sprain, even though he still was racking up points the following year, he did not look right from a skating perspective for the majority of that season. And
yeah,
I think people need to understand that ankle is like the strain these guys put on their ankles is unbelievable.
I mean,
stuff-
I'm not an athlete, but it took me like 8 months to heal from mine, and I don't do anything. So like for these guys that work hard and skate at the level that they do, even if you've had an ankle injury before and you just twist the wrong way, it'll just come back. And so,
well, I mean, Kapanen was one game or one practice away from rejoining the team, and that frustration he showed going off the ice, I get it, man. You work for 6 weeks to you get yourself out of a knee brace, and you're doing all the right things, and you make all the process that you need to do in order to get back into the fold, and then they were like last practice or your second last practice you re-injure yourself and you go back a week or multiple weeks. I'd be pretty pissed too. That's a tough spot. That is so demoralizing as a player because he just wants to help this team. I know lots of people think he's a plug, but Kapanen has not been the same player for the Edmonton Oilers that he's been for any of his previous teams. He scores the odd goal. I mean, he literally eliminated the Vegas Golden Knights last year. He plays an important role for this organization, and he brings a ton of energy, and they're just missing a lot of those guys right now.
One player that is playing a huge role for the Edmonton Oilers and who doesn't take a shift off and just does everything the team asks of him, and Leon Draisaitl speaks highly of him, is Puckin. That's one player that was a
nasty goal that he scored. That was a nasty, very Leon-esque,
Well,
one of my absolute favorite Leon Draisaitl goals ever was against Winnipeg 2 years ago, and Leon was in his spot on the half wall, and he saw this sliver of daylight between the and he literally put the puck up on its edge and put it between the goalie's mask and the crossbar. It's one of the greatest goals I've ever seen. You even see the goalie recognize the threat and shove his ear closer, and Leon's like, nah.
Big man, you're not going to stop that.
only two guys who can hit that shot in entire league, probably Draisaitl and Ovechkin.
Yeah. There's a couple other guys that would do it, but...
Could McKinnon do it? Maybe.
McKinnon's got a hard enough shot to do it. It's
Crosby
hard.
Could. And,
There's a few guys. There's a few guys that could do it, but man, the challenge accepted of that goal just makes it so famous to me, right? Just a really.
Leon has a swagger to be, that type of person, and
he was one of my dad's favorite players of all time. Never mind, and my dad watched them all through the dynasty years, but he would have, with no hesitation, told you that Leon was his favorite modern player. He plays with swagger. He plays with a bit of a chip on his shoulder. He has a completely unmatched skill set. He's easily the best passer in the league, and that is not not me slandering the rest of the league. He's just so exceptional. And again, he's a guy that this year's, even for him, struggled finding his groove a little bit. So
Yeah.
it's from the top to the bottom, from left to right, all aspects of the org. Everybody can bring a little bit more, I think. And I think they will. It's just a matter of when.
Yeah, well, just a matter of time, I guess, right? All right, so we'll just wrap it up here, but like in the next 5 minutes. But I just wanted everyone just to give like your, I guess, give a guess on what's going to happen in the game tomorrow. Maybe the score, or like, you know, if the Oilers win or not, and just your guess on which goalie the Oilers will eventually acquire, or if, you know, if they won't acquire. So, Mike, we'll start with you, and then we'll go to Kevin and Daryl, and then I guess I'll give mine last, because I'm still contemplating on which goalie, like, I think that they're going to acquire. So, Mike, lead on.
I want to be optimistic and say that, you know, we'll go out there and score 5 goals in the first period, but obviously it's not likely. I do think we'll beat them just because they're not a scoring team, and I think we can outplay them. Everyone's going to have to show up early, though, and I think maybe we eke out a close victory, low scoring.
Going to court always gives us fits. So if he's playing, that's the challenge.
And Carmen, what was the second part of your question?
Oh, just like which goalie do you think will eventually acquire?
I think it's probably more likely we go and get Jari, but Binnington obviously is a much better player in my opinion, and can perform in the clutch as we've seen at the Four Nations and even on that Cup run. So obviously you want Binnington, but probably Jari is more realistic.
Probably most logical. All right, Kevin, we'll go with you, and then to Daryl.
I'm going to trust Michael's tip here and suggest that, as we know with the information that we have right now, that it's likely to be Tristan Jarry. I would like them to go and talk to Vancouver about one of Demko or Kevin Lankinen. Lankinen's a goalie that I've had interest in before, and other people who are goalie-minded here are interested in. I honestly think there's a good chance that they're going to swap both goalies out and not just Skinner. I think they'll end up doing both, and then you have to wonder about a Laurent Brossoit or an Alex Lyon if they're able to pry him out of Buffalo, that kind of thing, right? So I think that if they decide to change it, it's going to radically change in a little bit of a hurry, and that's going to be a bit of a gamble, but I don't think they have much of a choice right now.
Yeah, especially with an owner like Cates. Daryl?
I'd like to see UPL, but I think I would trust Kevin and go with Jari as far as who I think is more realistic, but a guy like UPL is cheaper by about like $500,000. He's a bit younger and a little bit more. There's a little bit more there as far as upside, and so for my, I would like to see that. But obviously, Jari is the guy that's out there right now, and the person people are talking about. I think, obviously, I don't think that Kevin would say or put out a tweet like that without there being something behind that. So
we trusted our source. That's Michael's source. It's not my source.
Sorry.
No, that's fair. And Oilers Live, he doesn't generally break things that don't. He doesn't have a source that he 100% trusts.
That's true.
He did break the Woodcroft firing 2 years ago. Like, this is not like we have a completely non-existent record. I wouldn't bank on it 100% like I would have those previous ones, just because, things can change in an organization in an instant. Maybe they get a different deal. But the person that he was speaking with was pretty confident that was what was going to happen. And I guess let's finish this one up. And then there were a couple of questions from your post a couple days ago that I just wanted to get into, because I said I would answer them on the pod. Yeah.
Ask you.
All right. So let me just finish mine off, and then we'll go to the go to what Kevin was talking about. So like tomorrow, I think the game's gonna be close, but again, it's gonna be. I'm gonna call it 4-3. It's gonna be a loss in overtime. so I'll go with that. Goaltending wise, I was guys, Mike and Daryl. You already know I was gonna say. Last time I said Elvis Merzlikins, but I'm just gonna go and say I'm gonna go with my gut, and I'm gonna say Jordan Binnington. So I think that's who we'll eventually acquire as a starting goalie. So yeah, Kevin, you wanted to talk about your post from the other day, so go on ahead.
Yeah, no, it was actually your post, but you'd asked if
Carmen,
anybody had any questions for me, and Zach.
Yes, exactly. Oh yeah. Okay, yeah. All right.
Tom, do you want
Yeah,
to?
so there was so Zach Oil. Go ahead.
Let me just actually, Kevin, if you already have them, go ahead.
No, I do.
Question.
One question was from Zach Oil 73. He said, Matty Savoy's been around all this year doing everything right and come a bit unlucky when finding the back of the net. If you had to project, who do you think his ceiling could be as a full-time player? So I actually went and asked Brad McPherson, who's Blue Bullet Brad in 1981 on Twitter, who's a friend of mine, what his take was, because he does prospect projection as one of his gigs, right? Like he's an excellent analyst. He knows modeling and is gifted in analysis of up and coming prospects. And I think that he has a fairly high ceiling, of the 733 prospects that he's tracking that would put him 34th. And more so, if you wanted to know what his comparables would be, you'd have to wonder, I have to wonder about, maybe a Zach Parise or, there's a few guys in that 5'10", 180-pound range that have put up similar points, and that would be kind of where that would fall for me. And his mathematical view of it sort of agrees with that. Tuvo Teravainen and those kinds of players. So those are really decent hockey players. The list is fairly significant. There even includes Claude Giroux, right? Probably a little more output from Claude than we'll see from Matt Savoy, but he is a smart damn hockey player, and he's fast. And he's able to make and think the game at speed, which is something that honestly with this team needs. So I think he's got a really high ceiling.
Okay.
All right.
I have a question here from
Mike. Mike, I actually had a question for Kevin too.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Can I just ask it first?
Yep, go ahead.
All right, Kevin. So, I don't know much about the prospect race for this year, but I do know some of the top 5 players. So, just a 2-part question. Like, in terms of our the top 2 picks, Gavin McKenna and Keaton Verhoff. Sorry. Which of those 2 do you think is gonna go first? And another player that I wanted to ask about was Sean Horkoff's son. And if you can just give a little bit of a if you know something about Horkoff, just give a little bit of background on what type of player he is, and who you think goes first, Verhoff or McKenna.
I am not a prospects guy. That is I am an NHL analyst through and through. I do want to start analyzing more of the the Condors and the up and coming prospects, but as I've spent the last 5 or so years starting to establish myself, I've really focused on the NHL side of the game. With that said, I think McKenna is slipping a little bit. He's going to be an exceptional hockey player. I don't think there's much doubt that he's got what it takes. I think you're not really going to know this until you see the whole season play out, who's going to go first. I think either, with Schaefer doing as well for New York as he has been, I think you can make a case of taking a defenseman if there is, a generational level talent there, that isn't a bad idea in the scheme of things. So we'll see, A, who has the first pick, and B, what their needs are and how the rest of the season plays out for both of those prospects.
All right.
Okay.
That's fair.
Another question here from Daryl Patan, old Dookie dude. He said he grew up a big fan of your father, and you still keeps up with your podcast today, and the ones that you're on. But he wanted to know
breaking up
which player did you grow up on? Would you say, or was your favorite growing up?
Oh, Mike, you're breaking up a little bit. Oh, I think Mike just timed out. Mike, you're lagging a little bit there. Can't hear you. Oh, okay. All right, Daryl, do you have any questions for Kevin?
Well, I guess putting me on the spot a little bit, but I guess as far as like a Hyman goes, going back to Roslovic, since he's doing so well, what do you think his numbers could be in this offseason? I know we're fairly early into it, and do you think that there's a potential extension?
For Roslovic, absolutely. I had heard that he was maybe interested in testing free agency, but if the Oilers are actually able to throw some money at it, then I just don't want to see them overpay for him either. But that being said, we've watched a couple of veterans walk out of here that they probably should have offered more for. Connor Brown, I think, being likely the most obvious of those, where they've really had some gas, filling that position. I think that Roslovic, if he keeps... Now, Roslovic has a history of falling off in the second half of the season, so it's really going to be, A, how long is he out for, and B, how does he perform when he gets back?
Yeah.
There he is. Oh, good.
Did you hear the full question, or
No, we're gonna need all that again.
Yeah, sorry. Daryl Patan, Old Dookie Duke on Twitter, he said he grew up a massive fan of your father and of your show today, and just a massive fan of your work within the community. He wanted to know, which player did you grow up on, or was your favorite growing up? I'll put it like that.
My favorite player growing up was Wayne Gretzky. There's not going to be much of a surprise there. I idolized Wayne for a long time. He was a fantastic hockey player who saw the game like nobody else did, even up until the day he retired. Obviously, I was super young at that point, so that was my, it was easy to idolize the great one at that point. But Wayne is still, to this day, one of the leading record holders in the league, and probably will be forevermore. I don't think anybody's ever going to catch some of those records. He's an exceptional hockey player that played just in the right time in hockey history. So yeah, and Dad got to see him play his entire Edmonton career, and even some big games. He got 1851 here in Edmonton while he played for LA, right? So, that's a pretty easy choice. There's other players that I've liked over the years, but Wayne's the obvious leader in that spot, just because as an 8-year-old kid, when Wayne Gretzky signs your poster that you brought to the hockey game, then that's a pretty big moment for you, and that sticks with you for a long time.
Yeah, that's understandable.
That's great, man.
Mike, any more questions?
No, that's it.
All right, so Kevin, it was great to have you on here. Just wanted to drop a little bit of a tidbit. I think there might be a chance someone out requests a trade from here. I think it's the most obvious person, but it's just a rumor. Stuart's gonna. But, it's just a bit of a rumor that I heard from certain someone. But maybe that's true, maybe it's not. We'll see what happens, but let's see what happens tomorrow. Tomorrow might get interesting. We'll see what happens.
Sure.
Anyway, Kevin, it was great. Yeah, it was great to have you on here. Hopefully you can join us again in the future. But it was an honor to have you on here.
Absolute pleasure. Thank you, man.
Awesome. Yeah. Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, for sure. So we'll just wrap it up there, and we'll be putting this up on YouTube and on Twitter, and also on Spotify as well. So just be sure to catch it and listen to it whenever you can. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. Have a great night.